Hello and welcome to Let's Chat, the U.S. Embassy show on American culture. I am live here in the American Cultural Center, Algiers, and it's a special evening for me because this is my very last Let's Chat, as it's my last day of work at the U.S. Embassy, Algiers. I've lived in Algeria for 3 years and it is time for me to move on. But that is not the topic of tonight's Let's Chat, because it's also time for another diplomat to leave Algeria. Yes, it is the last day of work for Khaled, our U.S. Embassy spokesperson. Khaled moved in here to Algeria in 2019, and he completely revolutionized our social media accounts at the U.S. Embassy, gaining us nearly 1.5 million followers across YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Khaled is one of the hardest working people I have ever met. But I think what makes him so popular here in Algeria is his love for Algeria. From his videos advertising open jobs at the U.S. Embassy, or the exchange programs that we do at the U.S. Embassy, or videos of him stuffing his face with delicious Algerian food, or videos of him interviewing Algerians in perfect Darija about their accomplishments, you can just see how much he loves Algeria. So this evening, Let's Chat is hosting the man, the myth, the legend, Khaled. He'll share his favorite memories of Algeria, and he'll also say goodbye to you all. You can ask him questions in the YouTube chat. Khaled, welcome.
Thank you, Emily. That was quite a grand opening. I don't know about perfect Darija, but we'll see.
Well, it certainly sounds perfect to me, someone who doesn't speak Darija, but I think that our Algerian friends agree that it's pretty good.
بصح اكيد المتابعين الجدد وكل هذا ماشي برك بفضلي، يعني كاين اكيب هايله في الامبساد، ومن بينهم ايميلي، فاكيد هي اللي دارت مجهود كبير باش نوسعوا في اليوتيوب والخصوص سوسيو. So a lot of the new followers and everything is thanks to Emily and the rest of the team at the U.S. Embassy.
Oh, thank you for that. But it was mostly you. Khaled, can I start by asking you, take us back in time 3 years ago, 2019. Why did you choose to come to Algeria, and what were your impressions when you first arrived here?
Okay, so 2019, I arrived here in September 2019. وإحنا دبلوماسيين نقدروا نخيروا وش من بلاد نحبوا نخدموا فيها، و يعني ماشي 100% بصح نقدروا نقولوا باللي عندنا تفضيل بلد واحد وماشي ثاني وهكا. وبالنسبة لي الجزائر كانت رقم 1 في القائمة تاعي، وبزاف فرحت كي قالوا لي باللي قبلوني في الوظيفة. باسكو أول حاجة أنا حبيت الوظيفة نفسها، أن أنا نكون الناطق الرسمي باسم السفارة، بصح أكثر من هكا باسكو أنا عشت مدة طويلة في العالم العربي في الشرق الأوسط. كنت في مصر 4 سنين، وفي الأردن 3 سنين، وفي سوريا 2 شهر، ومرتي عراقية. بصح تجربتي كلها كانت بالمشرق العربي. وجامي رحت المغرب العربي، برك المغرب مرة واحدة سياحة من زمان. بصح الجزائر يعني ما كانش عندي أي خبرة واقعية على أرض الواقع في الجزائر، فحبيت نشوف بنفسي الجزائر وش فيها، ونتعلم الدارجة، لأنه اللهجات المغربية أو المغاربية بزاف صعيبة في الأول. اللي يعرف اللهجات المشرقية مثلا كي كنت نعرف أنا المصري ورحت على الأردن لقيت اللهجة الأردنية سهلة، أو حتى للخليج، يعني كل هذه اللهجات سهلة. So I was saying, you know, that for me, I had a lot of experience in the eastern part of the Arab world. You know, I'd lived in Egypt for 4 years, Jordan for 3 years, Syria for a couple months, been around the Gulf a bit. But it was my first time going to North Africa, and I feel like it's really misunderstood or not well understood, and particularly Algeria. And for me personally, I didn't know Algerian Darija at all, and it was kind of a challenge to come here and learn that. So I was really excited when I got my top choice, which was Algeria, and also for the job, because I did want to be embassy spokesperson.
And could you talk a little more about learning Darija here? You obviously already had experience in Arabic, and then you specifically learned this new dialect here. How difficult was that for you? Oh, I think we just lost Khaled on here. And now I'll just have to tell you what he would have said in English while we work on getting him back. As you all know, Khaled is an excellent Darija speaker. He's excellent at speaking Arabic. He was previously a professor at a U.S. university teaching Arabic. And when he came to Algiers, he started learning Darija. We have him back.
Sorry, I got cut off for a second.
We got you back, yeah. So if you're sideways, if you can turn your phone around the other way, and then tell us about the challenge of learning Darija here.
Okay, am I good now?
You're good.
Okay. So الدرجة في الأول كانت بزاف صعيبة. أنا أول ما جيت للجزائر كي يكون كاين زوج جزائريين يحكوا مع بعض، كنت نفهم أنا برك 40%، يعني 40% هكا. ويعني وما كنتش نفهم، يعني ماشي كيما دوكا. مع الوقت أنا ولفت دوكا ماشي 100%، يعني ماشي كيما في اللهجة المصرية ولا العراقية. بصح وصلت لمستوى 90-95%. أما حتى هكا يعني ما زال كاين بزاف اختلافات إقليمية داخل الجزائر تجيني واعرة. باغزامبل كي نحضر مع واحد من معسكر ولا من الجنوب ولا من أقصى الشرق ومن الأرياف، يكون صعيبة. بصح أنا كيفاش تعلمت الدارجة؟ قلت باللي ما راح نحكي بالانجلي ولا باللغه العربيه. يعني حبيت انه نحكي برك بالدارجه كل الوقت. So I mean, basically I was trying to only speak in Darija the whole time. But at first it was really difficult. Like I could only understand 40%, 45% if there were two Algerians speaking together. And with time, I think I eventually got to 90% plus. But it was quite difficult, I would say.
And that was similar to your experience when you moved to Cairo, right? You told everybody years ago when you moved to Cairo that you would only be speaking Arabic. So that sounds to me like a good Khaled language tip for anybody, that you can try to just be in the one specific language as close to 100% of the time as possible to learn it.
In Cairo, yeah, I forgot I told you that story. Yeah. So when I was in Cairo, I would actually tell people that I told people that I was Norwegian. And that I didn't speak any language except for Norwegian and Arabic, basically to force them to speak to me in Arabic, because otherwise, there's a lot of tourism and people want to practice their English, and my Arabic wasn't very good. So I mean, it's all about, not surrounding yourself with other Americans if you want to practice the language. So, I mean, that's advice I would say for Algerians that are going to study abroad. You know, don't hang out with the other Arabic speakers or the other French speakers or whatever. If you want to practice your English, you know, go with other people that want to practice their English too. كنت في مصر، كنت نقول للناس في الأول سنة باللي أنا نرويجي وما نحضرش غير اللغة النرويجية والعربية، باش نخليهم يحضروا معي باللهجة المصرية. وانتم تاني لو كان رحتوا باش تقرأوا في الخارج، لازم تخلوا الناس اللي حواليكم ما يحضروش الدارجة ولا العربية، يعني خليهم يحضروا معك بالانجلي.
Thank you for that. We have a question on YouTube from El Adli, who is Larry Adli from Oran. Hi, Larry. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. And he wants to know, what have you learned about the Algerian way of life? What is different here from America in terms of way of life?
So that's a good question, Larry, and thanks. Good to see you again. ولاري من الناس اللي انضموا علينا في المحاضرة خلال معرض الجزائر الدولي الأسبوع اللي فات، وإن الولايات المتحدة كانت ضيفة الشرف، ودرنا محاضرة كل ساعة تقريبا في النهار، والمحاضرة تاعي كانت في موضوع الإسلام في أمريكا والمسلمين في أمريكا. نقدر نقول بشكل عام باللي أسلوب الحياة في الجزائر، التركيز يكون في المجتمع، التركيز يكون على العائلة، وإنما في الولايات المتحدة وفي أوروبا في الغرب عموما يكون التركيز على الفرد أكثر. فكل من النظامين يعني فيها إيجابيات وسلبيات. بصح واحد كي يدي قرار هنا، خلينا نقول فرضا موضوع الزواج، اسك راح تتزوج الشخص الفلاني ولا لا، اللي يكون هنا قرار عائلي أكثر وماشي فردي 100%. فأكيد هذا من الاختلافات بين المجتمع اللي هنا واللي تم. So I was saying that one difference I would say is that, you know, it's compared to the United States or most Western societies, it's more the basic unit is more the family rather than the individual. So, instance, if you're thinking about a marriage decision, are you going to get married to this person or not? It's not a completely individual decision, and you have to involve your family in it to a much greater degree than I think in most Western societies.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Other question from YouTube from Abir Chorfa. She says, tell us your favorite, unique, funny story about something that happened to you in Algeria. So what is a story that you're always going to be telling from your time in Algeria?
Okay, a unique, funny story that happened to me from my time in Algeria. I need to think about it. What, can I flip that one on you, Emily? Do you have a unique story? Okay, go for it.
Let's see. Well, I have so many stories that will stick out for me in my mind when I think of Algeria forever. Lots of them involve cultural differences or not really understanding something culturally. I always think those are funny stories. When I went to Busada for the first time 2 years ago, we were just driving into the gateway of the desert. And I noticed a man in front of us in a pickup truck, and his arm was hanging out of the pickup truck, and he was holding a shotgun, just like very casually against the truck. And the shotgun went off, and he shot the ground very, very hard. And where I come from, which is Detroit, Michigan, in the United States, if someone is shooting their shotgun out of their truck, it's a scary, scary thing. So I was like, oh my God, the guy's shooting at us. That guy's shooting at us. And texted our group of friends. And I'm like, oh, someone's shooting at us, is what I thought happened. Then he kind of turned and drove away. I'm pretty frantic. We're driving into Busada. When we arrive at our hotel in Busada, there are two men dressed up in traditional gear on top of horses who are shooting the same guns. They're shooting the guns in the air. They're shooting the guns on the floor. And I realized that was a Busada welcome, was shooting the guns. Somebody was not shooting at us. They were welcoming us. So I will never forget the gunshot welcome to Busada.
طيب وأنا راح نحكي قصة ماشي من عندي بصح من واحد أمريكاني آخر ركب تاكسي وكان يقصر مع الشوفير يعني الرجال كان يرحب بي في الجزائر وهكا ويسقسي على عائلته وعلاش جا للجزائر وطولوا في الكلام. المهم كي وصل للدار تاعو الرجال الشوفير قال له خلاص ماشي لازم تخلص ما تخلص والو. والامريكاني ما كانش فاهم انه هذا يعني انه في الثقافه الشوفير حس انه واجب عليه يقول هكا ف كان هيقوم ويروح وما يخلص والو بس ما على بالوش انه يعني ما كانش يفهم الثقافه بس كان ما زالوا جديد. I'll explain that one to you, Emily. So this isn't mine, but yeah, but someone I know had gotten a taxi ride, and was gotten into a conversation with the driver and talking about this and that, and then when he got there, the driver said, "Okay, it's okay, you don't have to pay anything. You don't have to pay anything." And the American didn't understand that that's just like a polite expression. It's not literally. So he's like, "Oh, okay, thanks," and like starts to walk off. And anyway, it's just more of a cultural misunderstanding story than anything.
Yes, there's lots of those. I bet you'll come up with some more, Khaled, too, that have happened to you. We have a question that just came in on YouTube from Haitham Hashalef, who wants to know, Khaled, what is the most beautiful city you have ever visited in Algeria?
Most beautiful city, specifically city. Because if it were wilaya, it would be a different answer. For wilaya, I would probably have to choose Janet. I'm partial to the desert. بصح إذا لو كان نخير مدينة واحدة نقول قسنطينة. نقول بالله قسنطينة أجمل مدينة وأكثر مدينة في الجزائر. يعني مدينة ما تشوفهاش واحدة كيماها في قاع العالم. يعني في أي يعني في بلاصة واحدة أخرى في أي بلد ثاني. يعني كيفاش هي قاعدة يعني فوق الجبال والجسور المعلقة وكلش. وقاع السياح اللي يجوا أو الأجانب اللي يجوا يشوفوا قسنطينة يقولوا نفس الشيء. يعني مستغربين إنه كيفاش داروا مدينة هنا في وسط الجبال وهكا. Did you understand any of that? Let's see what you got.
No, I did not, but you really like Jeanette as a walaya.
Okay. Constantine, because the hanging bridges and just the kind of completely unique backdrop of the city and its location. I think it's the most unique city. بصح الحاجة اللي تميز الجزائر ككل البلد باللي القاع الولايات 58 ماشي كيما بعضها. وفي هذه الجزائر شوية كيما الأمريكان. يعني في شك ولاية تحس روحك في بلد واحد آخر. I mean, wouldn't you agree with that, Emily, that Algeria feels a little like the U.S. and that each wilaya feels like its own country, like it has its
Yeah.
it feels quite distinct from the next one.
Yeah, really, that's been a big surprise. I mean, how big it is was a big surprise also. Algeria is huge. You can get on a plane for an hour, hour and a half, 2-3 hours. You land somewhere and it's a completely different city. That diversity is a really cool thing about Algeria, I think. There's lots of protests in the YouTube chat, Khaled, that you're leaving. There's talk of creating a petition. Amal says, can we create a petition so he can stay? And Iman Rashidi says, why are you leaving? Didn't we take good care of you? So maybe we can explain to the viewers that diplomats have to leave every couple years. That's part of the deal. American diplomats usually stay in Algeria for 2 years. And both Khaled and myself and my husband extended, so we got to be here 3 years, but it's the nature of it.
يب كما أملي قالت إحنا دبلوماسيين نخدموا في كل بلد عامين، عام واحد، 3 سنين على حسب. وإحنا خيرنا أنا وأملي وآدم وإيريك تاني إنه نمددوا ونديروا سنة ثالثة هنا في الجزائر. بس كنورمال الجزائر المدة أو المسيون تاع الدبلوماسيين تكون عامين برك. بصح حبينا إحنا نديروا عام ثالث، ولو كان في إيدي كنت نمدد وندير عام رابع، بصح ما كانش منها. باسكو الرامبلاسمون تاعي راح جاي في الطريق، توصل إن شاء الله الشهر الجاي وراح تعرفوا عليها الشهر الجاي. So I mentioned at the end, I translated what you said and then mentioned at the end that my replacement is on her way, but I didn't give any more details about her.
Okay, stay tuned, everyone, to see who the new Khaled is. Fatia Fadila Boudraban says, can't you just stay? Just tell the Department of State how loved you are and they will understand. But I don't think that's how it works. And a good example of how that is not how it works is we have a mystery guest that I'm about to bring on who was a diplomat here in Algiers, and he had to leave about a year ago. So I'm going to let in our mystery guest here who has some parting words to give to Khaled. Let's see, who is the mystery guest? Who is the mystery guest?
I think I know.
Oh, okay. We have here, some of you might recognize our mystery guest as our beloved former assistant cultural affairs officer, Salman.
Salam. Hey, Khaled. Hey, Emily. So nice to see you guys again. Hey, everyone in YouTube. I just wanted to say, Khaled, إحنا ما نسحقوكش في واشنطن، قاد كمارك في ألجي. مش لازم تولي أمريكان، أنت دير خدمة تاعك، أنت أكتر مفيد برا الأمريكان. Khaled, it's amazing.
تفضل كمل.
Yeah, no, it's amazing to see you just after 3 years. The time I think you probably feel has gone really quickly, but we had some great memories. And wow, you guys did amazing things in the past year. One Beat and the trade fair. شحال من خطرة كنت في الماء خالد؟
في التريد فير، في المعرض الدولي، معرض الجزائر الدولي، طيحوني في الماء 6-7 مرات، وطيحونا كلنا في الماء.
That's good. It's revenge for all the. It's good. It's revenge for all the height jokes you made with me. So فكان لازم يديروا البيدون هذا أكبر على جالك، بس كنت طويل ما شفتش راسك في الماء.
صح، كل مرة كنت نمسك روحي باش ما نطيحش في الماء.
Yeah, that's cheating. You have to go all the way in the water.
Salman, how about you share with us a favorite Khaled memory?
Yes. Oh man, where can I begin? I remember arriving in Algeria together because we were in French class in Washington, and just thinking, wow, like this guy is so focused on work And yeah, before you know it, we were just he was cranking out videos every single day. I remember we did our first video of me knocking on his door, and then we were having some kind of food. And I thought it was so funny how food just became so associated with us. Like, oh, there they are, the Americans talking about Algerian food, more than anything else. I think that was really fun. One of my favorite memories was the Balak video, where Khaled كان يمشي في الطريق وأنا كنت معاه وكنا نضحكوا كيف وكنا نتناقشوا على الكلمة المفضلة تاعنا في الدارجة. وهو قال، أنا قلت له بالك باسكو كان طونوبيل موراه كان يجي طونوبيل، وهو قال لي كيفاش بالك، علاش هذه الكلمة المفضلة تاعك؟ وهو ما شافش الطونوبيل والطونوبيل قاسو ورماه في الطريق. It was really funny يعني to see him. It was a funny video. I encourage you guys to check it out after this live is done. It shows Khaled in just a very funny position, and then we also had the Beniwan video we did with BMO, where we had a cooking contest. كان في رمضان je pense، وكنا نديروا بنيون، كنا نطيبوا بنيون باش نشوفوا شكون منا، أنا ولا خالد درنا البنيون خير من بعض. وطبعا أنا اللي نجحت مع الآخر. And then April Fools, how can I forget باللي خالد زوج يعني أعلن باللي أنا تزوجت على جل بواسون دافريل، وحط فيديو تاعي في فيسبوك وقال باللي سلمان تزوج ومبروك وما شاء الله. طبعا
وبزاف ناس صدقوا، ما كانش فاهمين هذه كذبة فغيل. بزاف ناس كان عم بالهم انه سلمان فريمون راح وتزوج وفتح واحد حانوت تاع المحاجب.
Yeah, that I didn't expect people to believe, but so many people did. So yeah, I mean, we had so many good memories, and you guys have done an amazing job continuing. You haven't bullied Megan as much as I wished my replacement would have been bullied, but خلاص.
Oh, I think you had a very specific relationship. The Khaled Salman relationship cannot be replicated. It was unique.
Yeah, for sure. I just wanted to say, Khaled, I was walking in DC 2 weeks ago, and I heard someone actually calling out, Khaled. And I turned around, and it was someone from the Algerian embassy. And he said, oh yeah, Khaled. I said, I'm actually Salman, but close enough. He said, yeah, I see you guys on social media. You're doing an awesome job. Say hello to Khaled. Couple of times, actually, Algerians came up to me and said, oh yeah, we recognize you. Khaled is an amazing person. When is he coming back? So when you come back to the US, there are still going to be people who know you on the street, probably ask you about visas and DV and everything. So get ready to come back.
That's great to know that, all of us at the U.S. Embassy walked on the streets of Algiers, Constantine or Ron in the desert of Jeanette, and just people yell Khaled. So it's good to know that that's not just in Algeria, that's in the United States too. Well, Salman, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you are doing well. It's so great to see your face again. Take care.
Good to see you guys.
Soon.
أروح يا خالد. سلمان. أروح وجيب معك جرانتيتا. يلا بسلامة.
نجيب معايا تاني محاجب.
Well, maybe that's a good segue to talk a little bit about food, Khaled, because there are a couple questions in here, a lot of questions about food. Elevate wants to know, will you miss Algerian food?
I will definitely miss Algerian food. I would say if I had to say أكثر مكلة رح نتوحشها الشخشوخة، وتاني الكسكس الجزائري، وسورتو على بالكم هذا زيت زيتون أخضر كي يكون spicy. Do you know what I mean? The spicy green olives, like the ones that have like some zing to it.
Yeah,
I like the grilled ones. Surtout كي يكون مشوت. Like those, I really wish I could take with me, but it's kind of hard because they're packed in a lot of oil and whatnot. But shekhshoukha and couscous, I think, were the main dishes I'd miss most. What about you? I mean, you're vegetarian, so you have different favorite dishes. But what do you miss?
Well, yeah. So being a vegetarian in Algeria was a bit of a challenge, but I actually started eating fish while I was here. So now I'm a pescatarian because in Algiers, there's lots of really good seafood. So the things that I'll miss the most and that I'll make throughout the rest of my life, number one is borek. I make a pretty good spinach borek and borek with crevette. I'll make that again. And I really like soupe de poisson a lot. I'll make that again. And I love spicy tsviti. But I don't know how to make that yet. So I still need to have one of my Algerian friends teach me how to make tsviti before I leave.
Yeah, I don't know those tsviti. If it's not in Musaada, it's not really tsviti, is it? It has to be in the setting, in the context.
Probably true. I did buy one of the big tsviti, containers with the big wooden piece in it. So if I do make it in the future, at least I have the proper vessel to serve it out of. Khaled, we have a couple questions coming in about the DV program. So I do want to acknowledge that a lot of people are asking that in the YouTube chat. Lots of people who won the diversity visa program and are waiting for appointments. Would you care to address their concerns?
Sure. Was there a specific question they had?
No.
Or should I just speak about it generally? Yeah. Okay.
What is the DV program, first of all, for people who might not know?
Okay. Donc هذا البرنامج يعطي فرصة ويكون للناس اللي عندهم باك، لازم تكون متخرج من المدرسة الثانوية، وتقدر تسجل الفرصة باش تتحصل على مقابلة لتأشيرة هجرة إلى الولايات المتحدة. ويكون لحد 50,000 فيزا سنويا من قاع البلاد في العالم، ماشي قاع البلاد في العالم، برك البلاد اللي ديجا ما يبعثوش بزاف مهاجرين للولايات المتحدة. فما كانش منها باكزامبل في الهند ولا الصين ولا البرازيل ولا المكسيك ولا هذه البلاد اللي ما يبعثوش أعداد كبيرة من المهاجرين يقدروا يشاركوا، والجزائر من ضمنهم. فالمهم إذا عندك باك وراك جزائري تقدر تسجل الفرصة باش ندير مقابلة لتأشيرة هجرة. بصح ماشي شرط إنه إذا خيروك إنه راح يكون عندهم الوقت باش يلحقوا يديروا المقابلة. هذا بشكل عام. So that's just a general overview of the diversity visa program. But specifically now حبيت نقول لكم باللي القسم القنصلي في السفارة الأمريكية راح تختم باش تخلص أو باش تدير الفيز، سواء كانت تأشيرات للمهاجرين أو غير المهاجرين، بما فيها تأشيرة التنوع أو الدايفرسيتي فيزا. فلحد الساعة أصدرنا أكثر من 1000 تأشيرة تنوع في هذا العام، يعني في DV 2022. وإحنا نتوقع إنه راح نقدر نفتح المزيد من المواعيد قبل نهاية السنة المالية 30 سبتمبر عام 2022. وطبعا الناس اللي تم اختيارهم في DV 2022 لازم يتحصلوا على الفيزا قبل 30 سبتمبر. So that's the general DV 2022 update.
Thank you for addressing that, Khaled. So moving back to a cultural thing about Algeria, I think that you and I both agree that one of the nicest things about living here was how nice the people are. Genuinely kind, hospitable, very honest people. That's really made this one of my best tours ever, just because of how warm Algerians are. Do you have any specific story that especially exemplifies that kind of warmth and hospitality of Algerian people?
هو نقدر نحكي لكم باللي هو الألجيريان راهم بزاف اونت، وهذه ماشي مجامله يعني، بصح بالمقارنه مع بزاف بلدان يعني ما كانش ناس في الجزائر يسيو ياكلوك في الدراهم. فصار معي اكثر من مره وانا ما نفهمش مليح في الدراهم في الجزائر في الدنانير، بصح انه انا يعني راح يكون بزاف فسيل باش واحد يضحك علي يقشمرني في الدراهم، بصح توجور يكون اونت. ممكن نركب في تاكسي او في يسير والفاكتور يطلع ل باغ اكزومبل 48,000، انا نخلص له 50,000 ونقوم نحبط، وهو يقول لي استنى لازم نرد لك ال 2000. ولا الأوتر فوا رحت واحد الحانوت ومشي جنب داري، واحد انا ما اعرفوش ولا هو يعرفني، ما عرفنيش من لي ريزو سوسيو، وما كنتش معي الدراهم باش نخلص، نسيت الدراهم في الدار. وقال لي معلش المره الجايه تقدر تخلص عادي، خليها عندك والمره الجايه تخلص، باسكو هكا كرم الضيافه عند الجزائريين. I don't know if something like that ever happened to you, where like I was not even near my house. I was at somewhere far away where like he didn't know me and I didn't know him, and I was going to buy something at a store and I realized I didn't have enough money with me. And he's like, it's okay, معلش, don't worry about it. You can pay for it next time.
Yeah.
And that's just how Algeria works, I think.
It was a big surprise to me the first time it happened, because it wasn't a store that I had been to before. So he didn't know that I was going to come back, but I was buying some bread in a boulangerie, and the guy said, "Oh, you don't have the money? Just whenever." And I was like, oh, "But you've never met me. You don't know. Like, what can I was like thinking, what can I give you in exchange?" But he was just like, "Come back whenever." And that's happened all the time. Sometimes, people have chased me on the street and said, "I think you dropped this money." I'm like, I don't know that I did, but I don't know. And then, one of my favorite Khaled stories is just happened a few months ago. We were working in our office in the public affairs section at the U.S. Embassy, and our security from the embassy called and said, "Emily, someone's here with your wallet." And I said, "What? My wallet?" And I looked in my bag, and sure enough, I didn't have my wallet. And I said, "What?" And then I told my colleagues, including Khaled, I said, "Someone just brought my wallet to the embassy." And Khaled, being Khaled, who knows always how to make a good social media video, said, "I'm going to come film this." So he grabs his phone, we run outside, and there's a guy who found my wallet in Sidi Yahya, and he just brought it back to me. He saw a card in there told him that I worked for the U.S. Embassy, and he brought it back. Khaled had us talk about the situation on a social media video, and Khaled was right. The video was extremely popular. I think because it just showed just the casual warmth and generosity and honesty of Algerian people.
But that's not a Khaled story. That's an Algeria story. the important part of this.
See how it's both.
Well, there too. Yeah. Okay.
But
okay,
it also, Khaled, it exemplifies how much you love to tell stories about Algeria and about Algerian people. You know, you said that when you first wanted to come here, it was because people didn't know much about Algeria. Americans don't know much about Algeria. And I think in your 3 years here, you've really told those stories. You've really, you know, shared what you see, which is that this is a really interesting, cool country with lovely people. And you've done a great job at sharing that story.
And we're going to keep, and you know, the embassy team is going to keep doing that after I go too. لأنه كاين بزاف قصص هكا، قصص نجاح الجزائريين اللي عايشين في الأمريكان واللي قروا في الأمريكان ورجعوا باش يطوروا بلادهم، والأمريكانيين اللي عايشين هنا في الجزائر وراح نكملوا نحكوا هذه القصص. وواحدة منها جاية في الطريق دوكا، يعني كاين شكون اللي غير كيما وصل للجزائر. إذا تتفكروا ولد اسمه ماثيو هيل في عمره 12 عام، غير كيما اليوم وصل مطار الجزائر الدولي، وهو جاك ضيف الحكومة الجزائرية لحضور الألعاب المتوسطة في وهران. وهو الولد اللي حب يكون في المستقبل السفير الأمريكي لدى الجزائر. وهذه سي لا بروميير فوا في حياته أنه هو يسافر برا الأمريكان، وحقق حلمه إنه يروح للجزائر. فأكيد إن شاء الله هنشوفوا المزيد منه. So I'm saying, you probably heard the words Matthew Hill in there and yes. Knew what I was talking about, but saying just another example of the stories that we tell. And these stories are going to continue. The stories of the Algerian-American friendship and in the many different ways on the human level and, you know, in all kinds of fields.
Mm-hmm. So true. Thank you for that. We just have a few minutes left, but a lot of people in the YouTube chat are wondering what is next for Khaled. Where are you going next?
Well, I am not going to Washington, unlike Salman. راح نروح أنا نولي لبوسطن لأنه عائلتي عايشة تما، مرتي وأولادي، وأنا توحشتهم بزاف. surtout avec le corona parce que ما لحقتش نشوفهم كل صيف وشتاء كما كنت نولف ندير قبل الكورونا. فراح نختم من الدار في مدينة بوسطن، نختم في واحد البيرو في واشنطن، بصح نديروا تيلي. فبصح أكيد راح نتابع وش راحوا يصير في الجزائر ومرات وقيلا نكون في واحد الفيديو تاع الانبساط، فتابعوا الصفحة وإن شاء الله تشوفوني. So saying that I'll be working from home in Boston for an office in Washington, teleworking, but I'm definitely going to keep my connection with Algeria, and who knows, maybe I'll do an occasional guest appearance on the embassy's platform. So keep watching and maybe you'll see me once in a while.
Great. And others are asking, do you think you would come back to Algeria as a tourist in the future?
ايه بيان سور، حبيت نولي للجزائر باسكو انا زرت غير وقيله 13 14 ولايه من الولايات ال 58، فما لحقتش نشوف لا تلمسان ولا سكيكتا ولا عنابه، مستغانم، ما رحتش تميمون. These are some of the wilayas that I didn't get a chance to go to, so I definitely need to come back for tourism and most importantly to see my Algerian friends again. But also people can come visit me in Boston.
Amal, I think, is needling you, and she says Boston is boring. Don't go. But I know you like Boston, and I'm sure you won't find it boring.
Boston is a lovely city, and especially in the summer. It has beautiful weather, and it has about 50 universities. So it's a very popular choice for Algerians that go to study in the United States. I mean, the United States has 4,000 institutions of higher education, so there's something for everyone. You know, it's Boston has Harvard and MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, but it also has community colleges and many different options for students that are going to the United States. So maybe I'll see some Algerian students there.
Great pitch. And for anyone watching, studying in the US is an option for you. It is completely an option. You should check out our Education USA Algeria on Facebook and make an advising appointment with them if you want to know more. Well, I think we need to wrap it up because time is kind of winding down. But Khaled, I want you to have a final thought, if you will. Is there anything else you want to share about your time in Algeria?
أنا فريمون يعني راح نتوحش الجزائريين بزاف يعني ماشي بركة أصحابي بس حتى الناس اللي أنا نتلقى معهم في الشارع هكا واللي يسقسوني أسئلة ولا يديروا معي سيلفي ونقصروا شوية وحتى قبل ما كنت معروف حسيت باللي الشعب الجزائري يعني بزاف طيب وبزاف يرحبوا بالغريب ونقول لكم شكرا يعطيكم الصحة على ال3 سنين اللي فاتوا وفريمون راح نتوحشكم من كل قلبي.
Thank you so much, Khaled, for having one final goodbye here on YouTube, on U.S. Embassy's YouTube channel. Thank you everyone so much for watching. Thank you for watching all of our things. Thank you for following us on Facebook. Thank you for following us on Instagram. So this is my last day of work here as well. So this will be my last YouTube live. It's been such a pleasure and honor to be in Algeria. And like Khaled, I hope to be back someday as well. Thank you, everyone. Good night. Okay.